First of all, we have a really great young entertainer who's a magician and illusionist. I've seen him twice. He's going to be on a national TV show on Monday following our Thursday dinner. This kid is a rising star. He is being interviewed all over the United States. He's going to be on some other national television show, he tells me. I don't know what that is yet. It hasn't been announced. But he's the entertainment for the evening. We also have Berks County Living doing their step and repeat. We always line that up. We have Founders Awards, so we will be presenting 4 awards. So we did something different this year, which is why we didn't involve score. We didn't have the criteria and so forth. We looked at our list of the 22 original members that remain in the chamber, and we identified the ones who had a history of investment in the chamber, volunteers, and what have you. And we developed 4 awards, and we're going to present those that night. And we have a number of founding members and long-term established members coming to this dinner. So that's exciting. We're doing a silent auction that is worth more than probably now about over $4,200 in merchandise that's been donated primarily by members, but also non-members. And we've only done one other auction. It was probably about 4 years ago. And we did well, but this is much larger. With the help of the committee, we were able to put together the baskets and organize the whole bidding process. So when you come into the dinner, there'll be the cocktail reception, there'll be Berks County Living, there'll be the silent auction. It's going to be at the Holiday Inn in Breiningsville. We don't have a big venue since Berkeley is gone. So it's always a challenge for us to find a place that can seat 150 or more people. So if anybody's interested in opening a catering facility in Northeast Berks, we are totally interested in that.
Okay.
We need one desperately. So anyway, it's going to be fascinating. And I did a partnership project with 2 different KU students. So last summer in 2018, I had this idea that we could produce a short documentary on the history of the chamber. One, I always wanted to produce a documentary. Mostly I direct. I'm good at directing. That's why I always have that in my title. I'm good at giving directions. Can't follow directions, but I'm very good at giving them. That's true. And so I met with a student who was in the cinema department. She was a senior at KU. And she and I went out and we interviewed and met with founding members. And I have to say, it's done. It's done as of this week. She worked with me for months. And then another student picked up and did the post-production with me. And it's a very exciting 30 minutes that will be screened at the dinner. So I'm really proud of that. And that's a great artifact for the chamber. I am not in the movie. I'm just behind the scenes of the movie.
What are you going to do with that? What are you going to use it for then?
I have to think about that. Yeah.
Now that
I don't think we're going to theaters everywhere with it, but who knows? I don't know.
Netflix.
We're going straight to Netflix. That's a great idea. So that's what's happening with the dinner. I just want to make one point about what I said a minute ago about the membership too. Even though the name of our chamber is the Northeast Berks Chamber, and it started out as Kutztown area, our service area is all of Berks County. In addition to the number of members that I just reported that we've received over the last few years, we have seen a growing number of members coming from the western part of Berks County. So right now we have probably close to 25 members in Spring Ridge, West Lawn, from those combined areas, West Reading, Sinking Spring. We've picked up members, small business members, who, again, looking for affordability, visibility, what have you. So that's a growing area also for us. And so we don't limit ourselves. As long as someone's interested in doing business in Northeast Berks, they don't have to live there. They don't have to have a business in Northeast Berks. And so I think that's an interesting transformation of the chamber as well. Because when 2007 hit and they revised the Articles of Incorporation to expand the service area, that's when the name change happened. It's because, as I understand, because I wasn't there, that we started to see businesses from Hamburg and Shoemakersville, Leesport, and so forth come into the chamber. So, we're at an interesting point, I think, in the history of the chamber where at 30 years, you have these original members who some of them have retired, passed away, closed their businesses. And so to some extent, our retention is about 75%. And we do whatever we can, of course, to retain members. However, it's a little bit easier, I think, on the recruitment side. And I use that term loosely because honestly, members tend to come to us, and we've also really fostered a good core of volunteers in the chamber who advocate for the Northeast Berks Chamber and bring members in. Lisa's done that many times. A lot of our core people are bringing members to us, or I'll go to a meeting and someone will see my name tag and say, I've been wanting to call you. And you know what? Almost always people will say this: I've heard good things about your chamber, and that chamber really has a good reputation. I'm interested in learning more about it. You know, we're not high pressure. My God, not at all. People will call me. They're almost apologetic. Maybe I've talked to them about membership. They've come to me. I share the information. I had a guy yesterday call me back. It really sounds like a good opportunity. I know people say good things about you. I don't have one more minute to do one more meeting or whatever. I said, it's fine. You know, when you're ready, we're here. You know, we're not high pressure. So, and I want you to know too that we're always promoting SCORE and referring people to SCORE, because I am now aware of it. You know, years ago when I was a museum director was the first time I had heard about SCORE, and that was in the 90s, and I really didn't know what it was then. Now, I was a volunteer manager, but I was working with community volunteers, and I was working with college students. I really didn't know what SCORE was. I'd heard of it, but I wasn't quite understanding it. And now we know that that definition has changed a little bit. And I know you call it the best kept secret. I think your visibility is certainly much better.
Oh, we're not allowed to say that anymore.
Oh, I won't say that. No. Okay, you didn't hear me say it. Well, I knew that you had said that in one of your
Yeah,
promos.
definitely. In fact, we had a podcast that was called The Best Kept Secret.
I was on that
so
podcast.
It's like, oh my God. Yes,
but
that's
all I was
right.
going to say
See,
is
that's
I
another
think
change.
your visibility is certainly better. And I think here in Berks County, people are more aware of it. They don't always know what the acronym means or what it is, but.
Oh, it's no longer an acronym.
Oh, okay.
That changed
okay,
too.
well, but I think that
oh my gosh.
it's to
crazy.
me, it was amazing to learn that you could get these free and low cost, you know, free services, the mentoring services and the courses that you teach at RAC and so forth. So we do want to partner with you. And I'm going to just throw out this idea that I had that I talked to Barbara and Elise about, because we, just as we're going to bring your program to Fleetwood,
Yes,
which I think is going to open that up to a whole new, you know, slew of attendees, whole different population. I would like to do at least 2 programs with SCORE, and I'd like to, you know, have you talk about it and let's get them on our calendar. And what I said earlier holds true. I know some of these entrepreneurs pretty well, and I see the ones that are struggling in certain areas. And it has to do with planning. It really does. And I would like to do something where maybe we have 4 SCORE mentors sitting here, and maybe we have 4 business people from our chamber, but we also have an audience. So it's a program, and I want people to come and be an audience for it. And maybe the first one, and maybe it's a series of programs. One is maybe marketing plans. People don't have marketing plans, some of them, they just don't. And I would like them to bring to the table a marketing plan and have the mentor, have them read it, get that sort of guidance and interaction, have people also watching that. In a way, Elise, it's similar to what we did with the business idea competition at KU, where we were part of a judging panel.
True.
And the students presented something.
And other students could be in the audience.
Now, that was great feedback for the students, but they're still young and they didn't, you know, they did a good job, but but wouldn't it be to do something like that for actual established businesses? So I would love to see maybe, you know, 2, 3, 4 sessions that we plot out as a series, and you could decide what those other ones would be. But I think that our members would get a lot of benefit for that. It would bring exposure to SCORE. It would have people listening to your feedback and direction about their marketing plan. So anyway, that was my initial thought.
Kind of take that KU experience and
maybe that too.
Narrow it down.
Maybe one of them is like a business idea.
Yeah.
You know,
because that's what they were.
Where we do one. So the marketing one, these are sort established people.
Not a shark. That wasn't a Shark Tank. It was they presented I mean, and they had PowerPoints and illustrations and
it was
all.
quite comprehensive.
Yeah,
They did a good job.
They did.
It
All
was
of them
a lot.
did a really good job.
But maybe we do one of the sessions where people are just as you meet, people are thinking of an idea, or maybe you know your mentees who would want to participate in that for a small audience. Because I think we had an audience for that too.
Yes, we did. Yeah,
so I
there
think
were
that's
students
important.
that came in with, they were kind of, that team had, each team had their own little peeps.
So I don't know how you feel about that, and maybe however many sessions you want to do, 2, 3, or 4, you could do one a month. And of course we want to do them at the office or at another location where we have more space. We can figure that out.
Well, one go ahead.
Yes.
I was going
We'll
to say,
feed off of
we
that.
might want to pick up one from Pottstown that I don't know if it's scheduled yet or not. But
It's
what they
going to
did
be.
was
They want me to be part of it.
from 9 to 12.
Okay.
It's open, and then they have people come in. So they'll have a banker, they'll have a CPA, they'll have SBA, and they'll have
insurance.
maybe us for
mentors.
business plan. And so you have like little booths that go around and say, if you want some information,
I like that.
bring your stuff in.
Well, it's similar to your class, right? You bring in those types of professionals.
Yeah.
Bring an attorney in.
And I could see it working at the Hampton Inn.
Yes.
I see that
They
becoming.
have a meeting room there, and they have a boardroom. I like that idea. It's almost like a mini expo-ish type thing. Only because you're going from table to table.
Yeah, and what it is, because they wanted to include me.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like a blame. So you become a banker, a lawyer, an accountant, insurance, and mentor would be us from store.
And the E was the marketing.
Well, you might have
marketing mentor.
You could come in for yourself for E.
Yeah.
For social media or something like that.
And they were 15-minute sessions. There were 15-minute sessions. That's what they are.
Around.
Yeah. So how do you get that word out to the people that are going to attend?
Oh my God, that's her.
That's
the easiest.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay. Because that to me, I think would be the biggest challenge.
Oh no, there's no challenge with promotion. None, zero.
Okay.
And we have we have our own email list that is like over 700.
We can get up to a 55% open rate on our we have a bi-monthly e-blast. We have our platforms. We get media attention. We don't have any trouble with visibility.
Okay.
Right. Nope.
See, and you might do that on a rotating basis. So you bring in a different banker, a different attorney.
Yes, and that gives a lot of people opportunities.
Yeah. So,
is that through Tri-County?
Tri-County's doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there a fee for people to participate?
There is, I think there's a small fee, like maybe $15 for them to come. I think there is. Just because, the space, they've got to take care of that.
So if somebody's at say it's the attorney, he's here at this little booth at this table. So then do multiple attendees sit there with that person?
No.
It's one-on-one.
It's like mentor.
So they're limiting the number of people maybe?
Well, so and because it would, and of course how they said it is, they are having appointments so that a person comes in at 9:00.
Oh, I see.
They have until 9:15.
Okay,
Next person comes in. Next person comes in.
That's interesting.
It's really, really like counseling, speed counseling, so to speak.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's really cool.
And so then you just leave after you're 15. Well, you rotate through.
Well, see, they wanted me to come, but they didn't promote the social media. And I said, I don't mind coming, but nobody knows I'm coming.
Yeah.
And now I've done 2 classes for them. So those who have been, so that's like 40 people already know. And I wouldn't want them to miss out. I said, include me with the next one, but promote me so that you can schedule
this too. I still, I don't know how you feel about that other idea I said, but I still would like to see an audience for something like a marketing plan. Yeah. But I like this idea, as you suggested, of rotating, because we have members in all these categories, of course, and giving everybody an opportunity. We have lots of banks, we have lots of attorneys, insurance people.
Oh yeah,
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
The
And that's-
the
It would be neat
logistics
to
is-
have it as like a Shark Tank.
Well, the logistics would be
Yeah.
That's-
15-minute intervals.
Right.
You'd
Yeah.
have to call in advance. So
Yeah.
that would
Right.
only be the challenge.
And then
Well,
you need
they-
a bell ringer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bell every 15 minutes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Get out.
Oh, we ran over again.
They're actually
That's how
scheduled
many
appointments.
won't
They
run
have them
over.
scheduling the appointments so that a
Well, that would-
person
Yeah.
can come until.
That would open
so-
up for follow-ups then.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course, of course. You know, the other place we might be able to do this is through the College of Business that we have a very good relationship with. Somewhere at KU, they might offer us a room for free to do it in. That's a
Yeah,
possibility.
true.
too. Not that I don't want to use the Hampton
That's
Inn.
true.
Next to Starbucks.
Next to Starbucks. Always next to Starbucks.
Right.
Yes.
You talk about people
Yeah.
moving through, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
good
Well, because you have
disability.
little
Sure.
tables
Yeah.
over there. That's
Yeah, and you want to have enough space because the last thing you would want is if somebody's sharing a business.
Confidential information.
Yeah, we need that
Right.
confident.
Yeah.
So it has to be spaced out enough so that the conversation stays. And no domed. Yeah.
Speaking of the College of Business, we are doing in March, as you may know, we do a monthly breakfast meeting. We have one tomorrow at Lions Fire Company. Elise Interlace is the sponsor.
Which I still cannot register for.
I have you on my
So put
list.
me on
I
your
did.
list so
You're
I
on
can
my
pay
list.
for it there.
You're on
always
my
on my
list.
list,
This is so
Barbara.
ridiculous that it won't work.
I
And
don't
that's
know.
I don't know why.
But what I was going to say is that in March, there's an entrepreneurial leadership week. Are you aware of that? I know Elise is through Kutztown University College of Business. And for the last 2, maybe 3 years now, I'm losing track, they have asked me to organize the Women's Entrepreneurship Panel. And this event was always held on the last week of March. So for a period of 3 or 4 days, each day was something different. One day was a keynote speaker. One day was the SBDC, because it's College of Business, doing social media marketing. That was one day. The women's luncheon was another day. And family business was another day. Well, they were having trouble. I'm going to tell you right now, those family business panels were great. I've been to 2 of them. And they can't get attendance for it. It's in the evening. Can't get students to come. Apparently they say they can't get students to come to breakfast. They can't get them to come at 6 o'clock. I don't understand it because there's really a lot of value and interesting conversation about the dynamics of family businesses. So I suggested after the second one that had a little bit better attendance, I said, look, we get such good attendance at breakfast. Why don't you do it as a breakfast program? Because we could get the Northeast Berks Chamber to show up for that, and then whoever else wants to come, you could build a better audience for that.
It was great.
So they said, guess what? We're going to move the whole week's event up to the 3rd week, and our March breakfast meeting will be that. Will be the family business panel at KU. It will be free of charge because everything that week is free. So you don't have to pay to eat or observe family business
that was
people.
a really good.
Yeah.
And it was nice because I was at a table that KU people were attending, so I was able to talk to them
Yeah.
about Northeast
So
Berks Chamber.
I think because you always, and all these business people, I should say, most of them were from either Berks or Lehigh. So they were local business people, really fascinating. The one who was the best presenter last year, or this year in March, was the guy who's CEO of the Pocono Speedway. That was fascinating about that whole family dynamic because we all know how dysfunctional families can be, and then you throw that into a business. So they have some good stories. They have successes, and they feel very free to share the challenges of working with cousins and siblings and parents and all that stuff.
Well, I see we're winding down.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So-
So anyway,
So I wanted to just check if anybody had any questions, comments for Lori
no
to take
complaints,
back.
as I say. No.
No. So I didn't say that.
Yes, of course. And I can email you anything that you're
And I
interested
can,
in.
what I'll do is in one of our
Yeah.
next emails out to our members, I'll include that so that,
And I have these in my new member packets too.
yes. See, that's the brand spanking new one.
Yes, and I have
Uh-huh.
both at the office. I have the other one too.
Yeah.
I still use those too.
And that's how our banner looks, which I forgot to bring along. I'm so sorry. But it was a photo was taken of it. So
What's your total membership now? What's your total?
It's always hovering around 245 because you lose people, you gain people.
Yeah.
I can't give you the exact number this second because we just got another couple new members, but that's what we're averaging. Yeah.
And think about it, 245 and we have 167 people coming to dinner.
That's great.
That's like
I am
awesome.
so thrilled with the response to this dinner.
Yeah.
Our dinners, as you know, because you've been to these Shining Star events. Last year we had 2 events and we rolled it back to 1. 2's a lot for all the other stuff that we do for a small operation. But even with having 2, we averaged like 127 at the 2 at each one.
Right.
But we were always getting 150 to 170 reservations for the Shining Star.
Right.
Not everybody shows up.
Yeah.
But that's where we are. And I think, again, because it's an anniversary, it's at a new venue. We have members near that venue, so they're excited. They don't have to travel very far.
Right. Right.
I'll tell you another great venue if you're doing something that's very affordable is the Reading Regional Airport. They're a member of the Chamber. We had breakfast there in February. We're going to have breakfast there again next February. So, $50 for an hour of the boarding area. It is spotless. It's a great room with total AV set up there.
Yeah.
And we're looking to, let me just say this, I don't have to leave. The Berks Latino Chamber, I hope I'm saying that correctly, has met with me, and we're working on a joint mixer in October. And we're trying to iron out the details. We're hoping it can be October the 8th at the Reading Airport with catering by Klingers at the airport.
Right.
I didn't know until recently that was an independent chamber. I thought it was part of the Greater Reading Chamber Alliance.
Right.
I didn't realize that because it was in the same building. I just assumed that. And she said I've talked to Ismac from the SBDC.
Right.
So many people assume that. But it's interesting talking to them about what their challenges have been and what their successes have been as an independent chamber. And I think that we really have a lot of parallel situations can relate to them very well organizationally.
That'd
too.
be great.
So
That'd be a great partnership.
So if you're not getting our e-blast, sign up for it or have them just give me your email.
A quick question. We have a relationship with us here at SCORE.
Yes.
Do you have the same relationship with SBDC?
Here's what our relationship with SBDC has been. It had been totally passive. We're very active with the College of Business, and even though that's the umbrella over the SBDC, it had been very passive. Until recently, when they contacted me, and this was at the end of summer, do you know Keisha and do you know Carly Simon? Do any of those names, not the singer?
Oh, yeah.
Carly Simon. So as you know, there's the state office, that's where Ernie and Ismac are. And then there's the local office, and that's where Keisha and Carly are. And so they reached out to me for a meeting because they said that they wanted to become more involved with us as a partner. And they knew that there really had been very little relationship between the two. Now, we've had a couple of meetings, and they were working with me to get an intern. And I know they want to do a mixer with us, but they put that on hold. But so there recently has been a communication with them.
Now, I think there's a good opportunity for you to get membership through them.
Right. They're actually kind of looking at us as a resource right now.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, because they're, like I think you look at metrics, they're looking at metrics and so forth, and they're trying to get connected to the local small businesses. So they looked to us for that resource.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the parking voucher.
You bet.
Lori, a couple of questions.
Yes.
Several years ago, we were going up there and doing counseling. That's been void now. Nothing's been done now.
Going to Kutztown, you mean?
Particular reason why we're not recognized up there anymore, since we sponsor items and we're advertising up there and things like that.
Well,
we're not being called in for counseling.
Now, that never happened since I've worked there, so I didn't even know that you came to Kutztown for counseling.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. I was there when we opened our relationship.
Okay, I don't know about that, and of course, anybody's welcome. Remember, as a member, and SCORE's a member, you have the use of our boardroom for any purpose at all.
So if we have anybody,
I don't have any no, I don't know of any reason.
No, but I said we have to raise the flag with your membership.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, and I think, Larry, one of the things we were talking about earlier, there are some activities that we're looking at doing jointly, which should bring some recognition and should again open up. But But on almost every
Mhm.
meeting we have,
Oh, yeah.
either Elise or I say, you know, we're here. If
Yeah.
anybody needs help, let us know.
Yeah.
And as
That's
I said, I'm
never a
always
problem.
referring people, whether they call you, I don't know, but I am referring them.
Yeah, I
handing
think
out
what
the
happens,
brochures.
they get into the channel of scheduling, and they end up here rather than
They
being.
they don't
Yeah,
say.
the
Yeah.
only way we would
Right.
know is their address when we get the information.
See, I mean, and I only thought you did mentoring here. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
that's all I know
Yeah.
since I've worked here. You know what I mean? But you're certainly
we do-
welcome
we
to
also
do that, and
go
we can
anywhere.
make that available.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
fact, let me say this. Put a little blurb together for the e-blast. And
Right,
we'll throw
sure.
it in there, and,
Yeah.
and we can see if we have interested people
Absolutely.
in our area.
Yeah, we can
course.
open it up.
You can, and we've pushed out your
Mhm.
classes in the e-blast, and you know,
Oh,
whatever
yes.
you send us, we will
Mhm.
promote because you're a member. of
Yeah,
course.
before you came in, Larry, we are not doing the nonprofit class at RAC because of the lack of attendance. But when I saw that was sort of going that direction, Lori, we reached out to each other and reached out to Fleetwood Bank, and we are actually going to do that very same class. I've checked with all the teachers to see if they're available, and we're going to do it November 5th, 7th, and 12th. They're going to still pay the $50, but instead of RAC taking the $50 and us having nothing, we're splitting the
And
difference.
Fleetwood Bank gives us that space
That
for free.
free.
And
We're getting that free. So we're actually going to be making money. That's going to give us an opportunity to also meet with those nonprofits, which,
Right, in
if
Northeast Berks.
if
yeah.
anything, we as SCORE mentors need to attend those types of opportunities, because that's where you build those follow-ons and can schedule people.
And
Yeah.
I love what you're doing. I think it's in your how to start your own business. Is that where you're bringing Kim Davis and other people
Yeah.
who were trained by
Yeah.
or mentored by SCORE?
Yeah.
That's a great
Mhm.
idea, because you know she's a fantastic spokesperson for
Mhm.
anything.
Mhm.
But it's always good to hear firsthand from people. And when I was at one of your annual meetings and you had produced the video of were they mostly there were some nonprofits in that one.
Mhm.
That was a really impressive
Yes.
you know, demonstration of what you do for the business people.
Okay. Well,
All
thank you
right.
very much.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. All right. We'll call the meeting to order. 9:45. And we are passing around the paper for the roll call. So, all familiar faces. So we don't have any introduction of
guests.
guests. Okay, secretary's minutes were, okay. I'll send around this for people who do not have it. Take a few minutes to review the secretary's minutes. Thanks to the computer recording it. That's what it
There you
did.
go.
Yeah,
Elise,
Mhm.
I won't be here next month.
okay.
Have
Well, that's a Pete
conference.
problem then.
That's right, that's I know.
We'll figure it out
Another
We'll figure it
conference.
somehow.
Yeah.
Who was,
Does everybody have the agenda and the
who was
secretaries?
that Fox
report?
Rothschild?
You need a secretary.
Who-
Everybody else?
No,
Margaret,
who's
did
the
you
lawyer?
get a
Yeah, Caputo.
Oh, Rich. Okay.
Oh, the secretary.
Yeah.
No, I did not.
How
You know,
was it? I know
I'll get it
Rich.
to
He
you.
went to school with my son, and
Pete, did Pete get it?
Yes.
we were going to hire him
Everybody
on
inside
to
there?
work with our
All right,
nonprofit,
great.
but, you know, with 28 board members.
Who else might be missing the secretary
So we
report?
went to somebody else.
That's
We
it.
said we could do it for
Yeah, I'll give
$10,000.
it to you. Okay.
We're up to about 15.
All right. Give you a few minutes for those who just got it.
Call them up. $250 just to say hi.
Are there any additions or corrections to the secretary's report?
There was not to be nitpicker, but I think we have a repeat on the back.
Repeat.
Marketing and sales account at Schuylkill Store.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know if is that meant to be that way?
No. That needs to be fixed.
Just want to see if you're reading.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah. Okay, I will change that information.
Yeah, right.
I'll listen to it and I'll fill in the information. I have to listen to the recording. Can't tell you exactly what Harry said. Harry, what did you say last
What's that?
meeting? What did you say last meeting for School to Score? Oh, about getting together with the chamber. I know exactly what it was. About getting together with the chamber and having a meeting with the members. So, we could probably, that's what it was. That's what it was,
Well,
yeah.
the chamber, you mean the Schuylkill Chamber?
Schuylkill Chamber. I'm going to say this too, that Penn State Schuylkill has opened, they have, I don't know if you've been to the university lately, Harry.
No.
They have a private room that they created off of their like lunch area, you know, where the snack area, that is completely high tech, very, very quiet, very intimate, that can serve you as a place to take people for counseling. Susan said, use it. It's there. Nobody uses it during the day. You know, you can meet with people there. So they're doing, if you want to stop by to see it, they're doing Lion Launch right now every Wednesday for the next 7 weeks. They started next 6 weeks. They started last Wednesday. So you can pop in, well, really anytime.
How many?
It's really easy.
My former firm has 9 members of forward firm, and I'm meeting people there.
Oh, okay.
10 feet from the car at the front door. And, very
Yeah.
convenient.
Okay, well, that works too.
But
That works too.
I'm glad to know about the other.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Do I have a motion to accept the secretary's report with changes?
I'll make a motion to accept with the changes as noted.
Okay. And any seconds? A second.
I'll second.
Pete seconds that. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Is Rick here?
Rick is not here.
Rick is not
He had
here.
a doctor's appointment. He said he would be here.
Okay, all right. He has been trying to get the treasurer's report to me for the last week, and nothing is coming through from our school.
Their side.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Yet yesterday, without any attachments, I was able to communicate with him. No attachments. When there's attachments from the SCORE volunteer, when there's attachments, nothing comes through. So when Rick is here, we will touch base on the treasurer's report, because I do not have it. Okay, so we'll move forward. Did you want to speak of this, or do you want to wait?
So I'll wait.
Okay, okay. Well, scheduling for the mentoring sessions for October.
Okay, here's what we got. We'll go through every date because we had some fill-ins after the fact. October 3rd, which is a Thursday, I got Dave V in the AM, and the PM is filled. Somebody want to do Thursday AM? Okay, we'll move on to Monday, October 7th. We got Dave Brill in the AM and Larry Rush in the PM. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. This is a pet peeve of mine. I think we all have the opportunity to do this in the quiet of your home, and I think this is just a kind of a waste of a time to sit around and do this for 20 minutes. And I'm not berating anybody that's in the room. I just think it's simple. When you get it, you look at it, you go, I'm going to do this. I can do that. And it's a lot simpler now. So I'm going to go through it quickly. If So if you,
Should October 7th, the PM, you have 1 or 2?
I got Larry in the PM. You want to go in the PM? Okay. On Thursday, the 10th, in the AM, I got Harry and I got Tim in the PM.
I'll go with Tim.
Okay. On the 14th is a Monday. We got David Toon in the AM, nobody in the PM.
I'll do the PM.
Okay. The 17th is the meeting. Although we have done counseling sessions, but that was a different issue. October, Monday, the 21st, David Toon in the AM and Larry Rush in the PM.
I'll go with either one.
Well, pick one.
Who's that? I'll go with David.
Okay.
Oh, it's that Pete.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's going in there.
October 24th, Thursday, I got Andre and Steve Davis in the morning. I had nobody in the PM. Monday, October 28th, I got Bill Higbee in the AM, Fred Chow in the PM. Thursday, October 31st is Halloween.
It's also my birthday.
Well, happy
Wow,
birthday.
that's scary.
We'll
It
send
is
you,
scary. I love it.
we'll
I
send
love
you a
it.
piece of candy.
Yeah. Only
Well-
if
So
it's
we just
peanut
had
butter,
to
and
go
that's
now?
it.
Why don't you get counseling and come in costume?
AM or
Mhm.
PM?
Back to October 24th,
24th, yes.
I'll do the PM.
PM. Okay.
The 28th, I'll do the PM 1 and 2.
With Fred, Larry?
Oh, is Fred Chow coming in?
He's in the PM, and I got Higbee in the AM.
Which one you want?
Which one?
No, 1 and 2.
Okay.
1 and 2.
Larry.
Larry.
Okay.
All right.
I'll redo it and send it out, review it, because I've been known to make mistakes. But
Who's doing the scheduling for?
are you doing October?
No, I'm not doing that.
Okay. I guess I'm doing it again.
Let me know.
Okay. We might as well discuss this. We were out at the convention, and there is a handful of people that do counseling like we do. The rest is you're on the list. I want to counsel in October. When the client comes in, you're on the list. If you're the next on the list, it's shot to you, and you call the client and say, okay, I'm your counselor. What do you need? And there's other ways, some places have it open a day in the morning, 9 to 12. That I don't like, because you might be sitting there and not do anything. I'd
Right.
rather have somebody pick up the phone and saying, let's meet at 10 o'clock at this place.
Yeah, because we have so many no-shows.
Yeah, and you know what? I hate that, because it's not like I say, Ken, hi, I'm from SCORE. Can you meet on Monday at 10? We go through a process there where we try to understand what they want and their ability to do some things. And, when I get a no-show back from you guys, I go, really? I go, he seems so sincere with
I know.
his.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, it ain't like we don't vent these at all. I mean, we do. I mean, I had one that
I feel that.
she called up one of the lawyer. So I gave a guy the lawyer's name. I mean, she wouldn't tell me what. Okay. Here's the lawyer's name. I mean, you
Now,
get,
when that happens,
you get
and
some
they
like that.
they want a lawyer, you're going to send it to a subject matter expert.
Yes.
Then they go off of our list, obviously.
This
because,
one
I mean,
wasn't on the list.
This
She
was a
was,
telephone call.
just,
probably.
this was
a telephone.
she was a call in. But if they're
okay.
on the list, then I explain to them, here's our process. I must go into SCORE's website and put in that I talked to you and sent you in this direction.
Right.
You're going to receive an email back from us. And we ask that you provide the detail back,
Right.
that you were satisfied, you weren't satisfied. I mean, for the part of it, she asked for a lawyer. I gave her a lawyer.
Yeah. Made sense.
Should be 100%.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when she talks to the lawyer, that what happens
don't
is
know.
they get there and they go, oh my God, I didn't realize this. Now they got a negative attitude towards us because we had explained to them what they had to do. And
Right.
it's just what it is.
Yeah.
I think in the future, we have to think about that. It is.
It is truly what we do for school board.
Yes.
It's what we do.
The other side, I wanted to call in for the attorney, just send them to the Berks Bar Association. Have that number available,
Yeah.
call them.
Yeah.
So that gets us out of the
that-
middle
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, that
Yeah, it depends on
one-on-one.
how. It depends on how we receive it. If it's a phone call to our phone, it's a different animal. Man, we got someone these lists that were there for 2 months, and finally, I gave them another courtesy call. Nothing. I closed them out. It just at some point when you make the initial contact and say, "Hey, we're here for you. Call me back," and then if I get a voicemail, I immediately send an email.
Mhm.
I left a message on your voicemail. What's the best time of day to reach you? And if I get nothing back, I give them one more phone call.
Well, maybe what we do is take a month and try it. But first we would need to train people on what's the next steps once
After the fact.
we contact you. Try it to see if it works. And then go from
Lancaster
there.
is, we met with Lancaster, and that's the way they do it. It comes in, you're on the list,
It's your,
you get it.
your
It's your
responsibility.
Here's the
responsibility
person's
from
name and-
call one.
Yeah.
And really, truly, that call one can become a mentoring session right from the
Well,
get-go.
I got to tell you, most of my initial phone calls are 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You are counting it as the first mentoring session.
I can't because I can't go in and put it in the system because I really haven't counseled them. I set up a counselor for them. They're going to do the next step. Well,
We missed that
But do you
opportunity.
give
Yeah.
them the website? When I get something like that. you
no,
give them the
I
website.
just do the appointment, but we
Yeah.
kind of vent them through that. So
Right.
we know they're going to be sincere and hopefully show up. But
Yeah, but there's so many
yeah.
no-shows lately.
yeah,
Mhm.
well, then you get
There
the
are.
second
There are
no-show.
no-shows. There, ask David, how many times, David, did you come down and there was a no-show?
Go too
Jack
often.
David knows.
Too
Mhm.
often.
He doesn't keep track.
Well, and what's bizarre about it is we make the initial appointment. You follow up with a phone call 2 days, a day out,
Yeah.
and they still can't make it.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
goodness.
still don't know. Right. Yeah, I know.
So it
It's
kind of
terrible.
tells you where they're going to go down this path of going
Well,
into business.
Maybe what could be like a next step in this whole scenario is do this. In other words, instead of this is the time that you've chosen, let's have that list. Here's a wheel. We still have the call in. We still have you're going to be counseled by this person.
Right.
I'm going
Right.
to call them, give them your information. Just like when David goes in, they come to him and he shoots them over to you,
Mhm.
rather than that. You still would shoot them to who is the scheduler, and then they would send it. Then it's a matter of the mutual decision where to meet.
Just send it to whoever.
It could still be here. It could still be Monday.
Person on the list.
Yeah.
I don't think the phone committee goes away. I think there's always going to
Yeah.
be some issues that,
And we do need another member.
yeah,
Mhm.
good luck with that. We need a
I
vice
know.
chair, we need a secretary.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's coming to the point where, who's going to do the work? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
but
The same 4 or 5.
yeah, exactly. So, but it's like if you don't vote, you can't complain about the politicians.
That's right.
I like that.
So that's where we are with it. And I'm going through the list. We have some people out there back to June, and I'll send out emails. If your name's attached to the client, see if he was a no-show or she was a no-show, whatever that case may be, or you didn't put in the session notes. I did have an oddball thing happen. A guy by the name of Peter Schlegel.
Oh, yes.
Pete Schlegel.
Yeah.
It's
No, that's
He,
right.
he called for, was that the one where he had somebody, he wanted to make the appointment for somebody?
Yeah, he wanted to
And
make an
was coming.
appointment for a company up in Hamburg. So, but the phone number was to the company in Hamburg. So I called that number in his street. Can I talk to Pete Slidler? We don't have one of them here.
Oh,
I said, really?
He was a
okay.
consultant for,
He was a consultant,
Peter
so it was a
was a
third
consultant.
party. And so when I got it from her, you left the date open, and I sent him an email. I said, we don't leave dates open. You know, we'll give you the day. Can you make June 10th?
he needed to check.
And yeah, he needed to check with the guy on the business. So I just emailed him again, and I said, here's where we are. Do you need us or not? But I'm not comfortable with a third party
Yeah, that's.
going in, and he's probably making money off of it. So I'm probably
That's what
within
it
a
is.
couple
bothered
days
me
going to
about
do a
that.
closeout on it because, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it never
It's
happened
really
before.
weird.
I had his number, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm sure I had Peter's number.
Well, if you did, I probably don't have it. I don't know.
Right.
Because when I first called, it was to the business, but it was really strange. So,
I know that
Mhm.
beach like guy.
do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Right, thank you. It's good I didn't know that.
Well, if I wouldn't have scheduled something with Pete, I would have only did it with the business. But I would have had to do a closeout for him because he's the name on record.
Mhm.
So, okay, thanks.
Well, I had that situation. Remember the one that 3 times I tried to have him meet at either Starbucks or someplace. I even said the library. And no, I want to meet at my house. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go to anybody's house.
Oh, yeah.
No. No.
You'll be in
No.
the obituaries. Well,
Yeah.
you have your
Yeah.
standards.
I
We had one.
public or not.
We had one, Harry, that wanted email counseling. You remember that one from up in your way? And so I emailed her back, and I kind of put a little body to it, blame and stuff like that. I haven't heard back from her.
No.
I'm not a fan of email counseling until after the first session.
Right.
Right.
At that point,
That's when it makes
they
sense.
understand what we're about. We kind of understand what they're about. And then a quick email, hey, I did these 3 things. What do you want me to do next? Or whatever the case.
Yeah, a lot of them come through and request phone or email mentoring.
Well, I think that's the younger generation. They don't have time
I'm not
for an
sure that
appointment.
whether they just think that that's the first contact or what, but it's better to go face to face, as we always encourage.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what when I made the
Yeah.
appointments.
Mhm.
Well, I think in the
Thank
world
you,
of
and,
in the world of SCORE, that's what they prefer, the face-to-face. And then after the fact,
Well, eventually we're going to get the Skype. Right?
Oh, Zoom. I'm Zooming right now, by the way.
Okay.
I Zoom and record.
And then the last thing for me, on a roll,
But
one of my,
just one comment before you that, I think at some point we're going to have to go with the flow, and the email counseling and everything. The face-to-face is going to become secondary. I think we need to begin looking at when we have somebody that we know may be very difficult on face-to-face, that we talk about email, because that's the way people are doing things. And,
that's the younger generation.
exactly. And I think we've got to begin to make that adjustment. I still think we need to push
Right.
for face-to-face, but if you get pushback, or if it's really hard to schedule, I think we need to immediately move then and say, how about email? Can we work?
Or
with
Zoom.
that? Well, yeah.
Zoom works.
Well, one of the things I sent this girl, I have a spreadsheet that I made up with blame on it and income, expenses, and what you taught me with the rolling balance.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had something she could print off or look at what she's going to have to do, which then surprised me why she didn't do anything with it. Now, if she was so complex with it or didn't understand it, she could email back, I don't understand this, but it's.
Well, to add a layer to that,
To Barb's point,
started when you
Sent it to
out
you,
the
yeah.
inquiry. I picked it up. I wrote to her, having been made aware that she preferred email counseling.
Right.
I asked her when she'd like to meet, said email has not always worked well. I didn't say I wasn't willing to do it, I just
Right.
said it hadn't worked well.
Yeah.
And instead of her responding and saying, no, I really need email, she said, "Get me
If you're going
somebody
his
else."
way.
I mean, that was
It was the Tony you're typing. Now, there was somebody I counseled, and they opened a business. It's on a roll, Warnersville. They sell Coney Island hot dogs. Stop in there and say
Making you
hello
space.
and buy a dog.
There you go.
How's that?
It's a good point, because we can just send a person some blanks.
Here's some
on
goodies for
something,
you.
And they send back what they really want to do. It's 41. If you get more than 2 lines, that's a lot. And they send something back. If you both decide it's not for us or not for them, we haven't come downtown and sat here, and there's been times we've all had, we're not even 5 minutes into this and say, this is not gonna work. You're talking to the wrong people. And, you know, so if we can move, if they truly take advantage of it and come in a little more educated, then we can jump in and maybe help them more, so.
Yeah. Oh, you were behind me.
That's all right. I could see through.
I don't know
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I just
That's why
got it
we kind of go through what they want to do.
My
Yeah,
first
'cause-
choice is to meet them, but
Yeah,
if
exactly.
they insist,
Mhm.
you know, we can do that.
yeah, they're not all genuine.
Yeah.
They have a great idea, but and literally don't know how to proceed. So, okay. I'll redo this and send it out.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Good. Perfect. Okay. I will, to give Rick a little bit of time to settle in, we'll talk about mentoring sessions. Is there any mentoring sessions or anything that you are meeting with anyone in particular that you need help, or something's happened that might be a benefit for everybody to learn about? I know I like one UCC. Where are they in the
There were a couple of,
scheme
let
of?
me just, this is
Mhm.
performance, but it also goes into the mentoring. There's a misunderstanding that has come through on some of the things that confidential. One comment that came back on the Net Promoter Score was, they said it was confidential, but they sent it to everybody. Well, it's confidential to all school, really. So if you're part of school, like we share things in this thing, just because I met with somebody doesn't mean it's only confidential to me and them. And they misunderstand that. And then secondly, they don't understand the Net Promoter Score. Larry had a session where she gave you a 5. And then she said, everything glowing report. But she didn't understand that it was a 10 that she had to give you and not a 5. Because she just didn't understand what the Net Promoter Score was.
She didn't understand the metric.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah.
you know, and it's, you know, you can't really explain all of that, but sometimes at the end of the session, you just let them know that they're going to receive some kind of a survey.
You have to actually
but you don't
hold
have
their
to,
hand.
shouldn't have to explain the thing to them. Anyway,
But you need to.
Yeah, but
Well,
you need
you
to. Yeah, you do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I help people with reviews, and I always say negative reviews will happen.
Yeah.
Positive reviews you need to ask for. You pretty much
Yeah,
have to hold
sure.
people's hands.
But when they say all positive things and then give you a number that doesn't reflect
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
something's wrong.
Listen
Yeah.
to the people on the other end of the Verizon when you call for help, and they then say, have I been able to help you? And will you give me a, whatever, 5, it's
Yeah.
usually a 5 there, will you give me a 5 on the score?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Right.
is there something else I could do for you to get that? So, I mean, you know, they sell themselves, and mostly I want to say, you've been okay, but your service stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you don't get a 9 or a 10, that's bad
Yeah.
in our survey.
It's bad
Net
everywhere.
Promoter
Yeah.
Score.
Is our
One of the counseling sessions I had, you might want to jot this down, was writing a book and publishing a book. I investigated it, and there's a company by the name of Newman Springs Publishing. They help people write books and publish books and go over the basics. So if you ever run into that, the name is Newman Springs Publishing. I have a 1-800 number for them. and an email address for them if you ever need that. So we did that. I also got a call from National to do a counseling session with Learning Tree. They wanted a banker that would explain to them why businesses go in, borrow money, and how they take care of seasonal borrowing needs. So I spent about an hour on the phone with a publishing company. So those are some of the things that we've done.
Okay, with the publishing company, only because there's a couple that I'm familiar. I don't have them in my head. Does Newman Springs, when they are helping them, are they requiring royalties from the book? Okay, good. Because I had an individual not call me before she got involved with somebody, and he basically wanted to take her book completely. Just she wasn't going to make anything but peanuts on it. So that can happen. Can be the opposite. So any other sessions? Okay, we'll.
Hey, say, Steve, why don't
go ahead.
you bring everybody up to speed what you and Barbara are doing with
One UCC?
One UCC. That's worthwhile.
We're doing strategic planning, and we're going to do a SWAT this weekend, and under the steady guidance of Elise and Russ helping us, and Barb, we got a survey done, a Likert survey, and it was pretty interesting, and we're going to work with them on developing a strategic plan. They came into a lot of money out of the blue, had no idea it was coming, and to their credit, kind of scared them. So instead of letting it fiddle away, they're getting together and say, okay, what are we going to do with this? So,
and I said they just need to be like the Rotary.
Yeah, that's right. That's one.
Invest it all, and only spend what they make.
Yeah.
Don't touch
Are
the
they a
principal.
501c3?
Yeah, they're a church.
They're a church.
Yeah. So it's been pretty interesting, and they seem to want to help themselves, but now we're getting down to they need to write their plans. So it'll be interesting after the survey was done. I went through the first contact survey. That's pretty interesting. Going through that.
Yep. That worked. For some reason, we had issues with this one. I've not in the past, but there's always that time when it wants to be ornery. So, but we got through it. We got through it, and that's good. So, all right, I will backtrack and go to the treasurer's report.
Okay, couple things, just so everybody's updated on where we are in the transition. As you all know from, I don't know if anything was reported earlier here regarding what National has done, but all chapters now everything is centralized banking through Bank of America. There are no chapters have any local funds available to them at all anymore. All the money goes in, all the bills are paid, everything is done by National. That was as basis of the agreement with the SBA from the audit that. So as we no longer have a Santander account, we now have everything with Bank of America. And everything is there. And bills get sent directly to them, and they pay the bills directly from there, whether it be printing, anything along those lines. So they put 100% control on, and that's every chapter. We were scheduled to be done at the end of the year, and the House committee that oversees the SBA and oversees SCORE said that they expected it done by beginning of their fiscal year, which is October 1st. So everything really came forward. So we are in compliance. Just so you know, everything. Yesterday, I made the first deposit into the Bank of America account. I've already sent the bills that they are supposed to be paying on, and working on getting W-9s from different people, from different vendors, requiring W-9s.
Have we closed the Santander accounts?
I have taken every penny out of them. They have been notified that they told me that I don't have to go in and officially close it. Once it has zero in it, it will be closed. I'm still going to start buying time ahead. This is what I did. It was just done yesterday. So I got the. Right.
The fund that we had a balance of 36,000, that's been given to the national.
Yes, every time.
And there's no segregation of how much.
everything in there is our funds. Even what they said, the money that's left over from the national restricted funds that we get from the SBA will be transferred into those funds also. So everything as of October 1st that's in there is entirely 100% our funds.
So we will not
Anything
lose
goes in, and
those.
anything else, there's a separate accounting in Interact now. We'll no longer use QuickBooks or anything like that. Interact is the accounting thing that's online. I have access. I want to give Pete access, but only 2 people from each chapter can have access to it, no matter how big or small your chapter is. And that they keep tracking there of what funding you get from the SBA for what's known as restricted funds. That's for when we go into marketing, printing, any costs that they approve, that will come directly from there and be deposited into our account.
So we still keep maintain a separate account for us, even though it's.
Yes, it's not into one big huge pot, right? Yeah, thank God. No, we have our own special deposit slips, 0008, copy of which is here if anybody's interested. Here's copies of the checks that I made and sent to. I did it at a bank. Their closest bank. This one I happened to hit down in Malvern area.
So there's no commingling with one.
No, there will not be any commingling. Anything that we raise on our own gets deposited right into there, and it's our funds. And those are what in the past were known as unrestricted funds. Restricted funds were the ones from the SBA, and those are the ones that got the organization in trouble, as was broadcast, because of what people were using them for. And then they found, as they went and did the audit and they were able to answer the audit, they found that right now it's close to 60% was in error by the House Ways and Means, and the House committee that has the oversight of SBA, that the audit, because they were not able to provide paperwork at the time of the audit that the people were there, they automatically assumed that this was in error. Well, now they've been able to provide paperwork for that, and at the national convention, at the national meeting conference, it came out stating that they have been able to answer satisfactorily in excess of 60% of the funds, and they expect to have it pretty much all accounted for of what happened and how it happened. And yes, there were errors made. One of the big problems was when people had like a golf outing and they were putting things into some of the marketing side of the golf outing going into SBA funds. Well, they put the whole thing in, which included beer and things like that. That is a no-no. Beer can, if you have a golf outing and you have beer, it can come out of your own funds and that sort of thing, but it's not something that the SBA would approve from their restricted funds.
No.
So you have to divide. So you have to divide it out. So
the other thing that was a sticking point is if somebody would use their credit card, and you know the thing you sign only shows the amount and then your tip. They need to see the detail.
All of it.
Every
meal.
3 breakfasts, 4 coffees, 2 juices. Rolls into that. So that credit card
So when
receipt,
I would send you that, it was no problem.
You need the detail.
We're good. We're squeaky clean.
So
good. Good. Yeah.
Squeaky clean.
But that's
Yeah.
okay. If you don't
I have to
Yes,
find out.
yes.
get a huge bonus at the end of the year anyway.
Right,
So,
there you go.
you know, I mean,
That's the other major thing that they found out about, and they have since done away with the programs that allowed people the bonuses, and they have collected some of that money back. Was brought out.
absolutely inexcusable.
It was
really.
totally, and that's where
There's an oversight.
Yeah.
Was it
Oversight.
the one guy?
Well, the biggest thing that I took out of it, and I know Harry, you were there when we were sitting talking with our district guy. The accounting firm that failed to do audits has been fired, and they are in the process of doing a thing to bring in a whole. I think they have brought in a temporary one that's applying to be the accountant, but
The accountant for who? For national or
for SCORE.
For SCORE, yeah.
Or SCORE, and and it has to be somebody that's acceptable by the SBA also.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Number one, and the House,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
I mean,
So we've always done an annual audit of our own chapter. Where do we stand with that?
I have no idea. I didn't know. I asked Janet Press and she said.
I would think
We
we'd have
always-
to do
I
one.
still would
want to
wanna
hear
do
when you
that.
guys want to do it, but I have to get all her information from the first 6 months of the
Here's a
year.
thought, you should probably do it before the two transfer of.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
change of
and
command.
we had Bob Robertson in the past do it,
I
and
have no
Pete,
problem.
you get involved 1 year, didn't you,
1 year,
with the audit?
1 year.
1 year.
So it would be a matter.
Well, let me know when somebody
Mick
wants to sit down and do an audit.
Yeah.
I would say.
I don't know who you normally have. You should have an audit committee. I don't appoint an audit committee.
Yeah, I know,
Well,
but
there-
I think it should be before the change of command. The
Yeah,
other thing
sure,
is
sure.
Maybe approach Barry Grobel. to see
Yeah,
if
Barry,
Barry
I would
do it
include
for you.
Barry and Pete, would you be willing
I'll
to?
give Barry.
Yeah, yeah, Barry and you. Yeah, I
Just
think
let me
that would
know
be a
when,
good,
where, how, and why. And
They just-
Bring
that
whatever
would be
I have.
good.
Should be just put in our record.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was done.
absolutely. Yeah.
Because we did it
And that's
last year.
something they'll ask at the annual
Yes.
meeting, and whenever the district
Mhm.
does their annual meeting.
Now,
right
have you
after
been getting
October
any
1st.
of that paperwork? I haven't seen
I haven't
anything of
seen
anything.
Do we have the results of the previous audits?
Well,
I've
probably
never
do.
seen it.
Yes,
I've never seen
I
it, Janet.
believe I have them probably in my computer.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
in
yeah.
our- Yeah,
So Barry knows what to do.
Right.
well, it's just.
It's a typical,
Bob Robertson just gave us a 8.5 by 11 sheet that just said basically everything that they did.
right.
Yeah.
We can get
Right.
that.
Yeah, we
Right.
can take that
Yeah.
out and get that. to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never seen any of that
I'll pull
information.
that,
Yeah.
I'll pull that from
Yeah.
my records.
I basically,
Mm-hmm.
Janet sent me the QuickBooks file, and that was the end of. So everything else I've recreated, and I have to do
Okay.
and I have to do Form 3, recreating everything too, because that has to be filed now before. Since we've established that we've done the steps that they're for the changeover of the accounting firm, I have to now do the Form 3, and that's going to be fun since it's going to be the last one that's going to be required, because in the future, everything's in Interact now. So everything's
It
going to be in
won't
their
need to
accounting.
be.
It's their version of QuickBooks. It's not QuickBooks, but it's Interact. It's another firm does, and everything's going to be in there. And we have the ability to drill down and see what's been paid, what hasn't been paid, and follow up on
Yeah.
the bills and everything like
Yeah.
that.
That's good.
I have access to it. I've been in it. I got in.
Does it feel
I asked for the
comfortable?
information to do it. It's
It is
it's
what
the
it
same
is,
as
huh?
QuickBooks.
Mhm.
It's an Excel spreadsheet that's all fancy,
Okay.
basically, to the largest extent.
The other piece that we put in place on the website as well as Constant Contact is that now we're not going to be taking any sort of funds for the nonprofit class that we're going to be doing with Northeast Berks Chamber, because I thought it would be a little sticky if we take that $50 and then half of it goes to Northeast Berks Chamber. So I said, you take care of people registering and you write the check, because there's less, then it's just a check coming to us for those, half of it for those that are attending. So that's how that's all going to play out. But the PayPal's all set up.
PayPal's
We've
all set up,
tested
and
it.
that they're doing everything with PayPal. So
Yeah.
there's going to be the problem I think National will struggle with, because PayPal, every day PayPal goes and gets say we have a $10 fee for a thing, somebody pays it to PayPal, that goes as a separate line entry based on the codes that we have established that, we talked about. So if we'd have 35 people show up, there'd be 35 different lines. Now, you take all of the national accounts that people are doing things all the time. I looked at that sheet the very first day. There must have been 12 pages. Each page had about 75 on. And then that by the 008 code, by our codes, then it would start filtering and then coming in on a daily dump into our account for the revenue. But just trying to catch up and keep up on that. That's where I think the problem, until they have all that smoothed out on the national side, that's where a problem could arise. But we don't do that much with it, so it's not going to affect us much. But it's still something that, hey, if we want to know what we're doing, and we'll be able to go in and drill down once they have everything sorted. But they're going to do like the one gentleman I just talked to on the phone yesterday. He said, well, Monday's PayPal day. he's in accounting and he's a nurse, but all he does is all day long, he reconciles the PayPal trying to get it into the right things. And you're going through these pages and pages of,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, their PayPal, it's probably the worst
It's enormous.
setup.
It's amazing.
Because
But-
on every single
yeah.
one, I've got to remember to use that code 008 so that when it's set up, they know that that charge is to our chapter. If that's missing, we don't get the money.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's so it's so,
Yeah.
and there's certain codes you have to use.
Yep.
And as long as you
And
use the codes,
I followed it to the
right,
T.
yeah, as long as you follow those codes,
Yep.
the money will go in there. It's just till you see it, might be a lot more of a delay than what you would have expected.
Right.
But on where we are, just so everyone knows, balance sheet previous year to here, I did it through September 16th, which was the day that we were closing out going to start the closeout of the Santander accounts. We had $32,003.02 in. Through the end of September last year, we had $37,655. So we're down $5,600 from last year. But I have two checks that I knew were quote unquote in the mail. I got the $1,600 reimbursement back that we had paid for the printing of the booklets.
Mm-hmm.
And I got we have another donation there. And I also just had a $250 one. So now we're coming back up closer to numbers. So we'll probably be down, I'd say, by the end of the month, probably down about, unless Pete, if you know of anything else coming in, that might be coming in.
I'll report on the final results.
Okay, cool. But anyway,
Okay.
I'd say we'll be down about 3,000 from where we were total gross numbers. Now we still have some more money that's going in that's going to be paid that are bills that we have bills showing, but they're being paid by national out of the SBA funds that are still available to us. And we still have approximately, right now there's about $1,200-1,300 bills there. And I have $700 from the Reading, $700 from the Reading Eagle. And then
And
whatever else, and then you just send me one.
$100 for the, we made a banner, pop-up banner.
Right, and I have
Yeah.
one or two more for you. So we'll probably just about have all that spent. So it's going to be very little. It's going to be floated over. But the SBA says, yeah, they are going to allow that money to come over if we haven't spent it. And we're one of the few chapters that had not spent it. But now we knew we had these things coming up, so that's why we wanted to save that to take it. So, and in the future, there's going to be a separate line item up there, SBA funds available per chapter. Then underneath, it's going to be all our own funds, the unrestricted funds. So that's where we're at with that.
So is that the new definition of restricted, unrestricted, basically?
Yes, that is the terminology. Ours are, anything that we bring in, that we raise is unrestricted. Goes to our running of the operation here as we see fit.
Yeah.
It can go to beer, right?
It can.
It can.
Hey, and guess what? It has. We
Yeah.
had a luncheon meeting up there where we each got a glass of beer of a new place that we're
Yeah.
that kept trying to promote and everything like that. That's part of it. And they say that's totally legitimate. Don't worry about it. If they see,
But they want
if
to
they see
separate it.
55% of your unrestricted funds going to alcohol, then they may have a question because they're still because we still have to put in and have the information in there. I mean, if they see something like that, but let's face it, I don't think we have that big of a drinking problem here. So we're safe.
Well, okay.
We had a
Just
couple other
kidding.
things that came out of the meeting.
Go right ahead.
that Pete and I had with
Yes.
Bob and
Mhm.
Julie. He's more here. For my money, very impressive guy. He's smart, he's direct, he's informed, and I think he will be a valuable resource for any question, no matter how small. When we were with him, one of the things that he was asked was, how do we handle questions that we may get about this trouble at the top? And he said, if it's a question from within, you can handle it on your own. If it's a question from the outside, from the press, from one of your partners, from one of your donors, refer that to national. And I told him I thought that sounded like it sounded too much like a brush off. It was suspicious. And I don't quite remember that we talked that to a definitive conclusion, but I know he didn't object to it. And from his absence of objection, I would say that if we are questioned, we should be solid on our facts and prepared to respond to the inquirer as of that moment, effectively.
an interesting fact that he dropped was a report on the woman that's the new CEO, and she sounds fantastic. And some of the reports that you may have seen that have come from her justify that. As a matter of interest, he said that either the CEO or first, this woman was elevated from a position within SCORE, and in that position, her salary was $170,000 or so, and her salary continues at that level as of the date of our meeting. Either the CEO who left or records was drawing down $400K a year. And I suspect that they, either of them or both of them, were one who shared in this accidental bonusing.
Yes, they were.
There was one moment in the conversation that struck me as odd. When the subject of the 700,000 plus or minus that went astray, excuse me, came up, Bob said kind of offhandedly, he said, well, the federal government spends that in a blink. And it sounded strange because I didn't think the amount of the misappropriation was important as much as the fact that there was a misappropriation at all. I don't think he was trying to justify it, but it did seem out of tune with the whole idea. And I'd heard it elsewhere. So I do think it's a mentality that it should be avoided. It was, in my view, though, overall an effective meeting. As I said, I think he'd be there anytime, all the time, for whatever guidance we need.
Who was this Bob? Who was he?
Bob, he is the
What's
new,
the,
Regional.
no, he's the district,
District.
He's district, but he's from
Lancaster.
Lancaster.
from Lancaster. He had been
Yeah.
the
Bewley.
4 years.
Bewley, Bob Bewley with three
Bewley, yeah.
B's.
B-O-B-B.
B-O-B-B.
Yeah.
Yeah, double B.
He came out of the Lancaster
Chapter.
chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
You can have that one if you want.
One thing,
Bobby!
one thing, so we don't get always confused, and I'll tell you, I'm still not straight on how it all works. You have the SCORE Foundation, and you have the SCORE organization. And there is somewhat where some of the problems also was how the foundation was bringing funds over and accounting for things as well. Just so you know, Steve Records did not depart because of the audit, but Ken Yancey was removed because of the audit.
Right.
Right. So Yancey was the one that I think had caught with the beak in the dipping pool. For it seems to be a couple of things. One thing, question just from National that I had raised, and we got an answer. My question was, how many people that are board of director members at National are mentors? Now, there's 18 board members. They have 6 that currently are active in the Virginia area that are still mentoring, which I found a little bit more heartening than what you would think from a national board type thing. But they are actually still active in mentoring, and they're trying to get a lot of their employees that are employees of SCORE to also mentor. That's something that they're working on. The young lady, Bridget Weston, who is the acting CEO, she is impressive.
Yeah.
If you get a chance to see it, as we said, and we met her, and she presented, and she was excellent. She really was. I think she has a good handle on things, and she is going to be one that is interviewed for the job, along with others, because they're doing a national search. They have a national search foundation doing for them. Hopefully, she gets a good shot at it, because she is impressive.
And she's all over this problem with complete candor.
Yes, yeah, she doesn't pull any punches.
So that's interesting that the SCORE members are mentoring, because that means they're being paid to mentor?
No, they mentor after they are done working. They don't mentor while they are working. Now, I don't know how much time they have, because right now they said they're working incredible amounts of hours and they're salaried, so they seem to don't
How are they
care
going to
about
handle code of ethics?
I don't know that, but I believe the code can come, they.
If the code of ethics works that way, then the code of ethics should work the same way across the board.
Yeah,
Well,
Because last night I
an employee of SCORE mentoring. Your board of director is not an employee, but they're still actively involved in the active operation, and they are mentors. Do we have a problem
So
with
they
that?
all volunteer
That they-
after hours and weekends. to
They,
mentor.
Right.
I don't know that they all do because they said hires and people leaving, but they have some that do.
Are you saying the board members are paid?
No, I'm saying, no, the board
No.
members are not.
That's
They're not,
not-
but they're
that is
still
not an
running
issue.
the organization and deciding how the funds are going out, you know, and they're, you know, giving the direction to the management of SCORE, but they do have people that mentor.
Hey,
And
Rick,
I was wondering about that, how that worked.
I think a good example would be Jerry Glenn in the Lancaster chapter. He was a board chairman for 2 or 3 years, and he was still active in the Lancaster chapter, and he still mentored.
And that was a non-paying
Yeah,
position, too.
Sure, yeah.
But he was still he was still giving direction to the chapter and how they should be doing things also.
do you, and maybe you don't know this, did the board of directors approve all those bonuses and everything for everybody?
That was not stated,
No,
but
it
I would
wasn't.
think, well, you'd have to take a look at what their,
If they do, that's even worse. I mean, that's even
that's it, well,
worse.
that is, yeah, if they did.
I mean,
For
if
a
they
large
did go
organ,
in-
being the fact that there were no audits done, I would say probably not.
Probably not.
But they may have
Just done
approved,
willy-nilly.
what probably happened was they approved the bonus program. I would think somewhere along the line, they approved the bonus program, but they did not then approve the individual bonuses for each one. Based on
Anybody
the
who's
fact,
involved with a nonprofit in mentoring, tell them not to do that stuff.
no,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's it. Now, the question I have is how much is this really considered to be a nonprofit? The way they wanted to run it, it didn't sound that way.
Mhm.
And now it is being run as a nonprofit, I would think, right now.
Mhm.
And with salaries like that, that would be enough for me not to contribute to them, because that's one of the ways I look at where I make my charitable contributions.
Yeah.
With salaries like that coming in on people's salaries.
Mhm.
Okay, where are we?
Anyhow.
Okay, we are,
How many
on,
employees
um,
work?
oh, we-
Ah,
we didn't hear a treasurer's
many
report
actual-
yet.
Oh,
Did he give
yeah,
us
I
numbers?
gave you what.
Oh, you
where we
gave
are
us the
with, yeah,
numbers.
where
Oh,
our
I didn't get the
balances are.
motion in second. Do I have a
No, you need a
motion to accept the treasurer's report? I don't even know if we want to say and filed for audit because,
Well, we have to have the audit first
Yeah.
for the
Oh,
audit to
yeah.
be approved. Then.
and filed for audit. Do I have a motion to that effect? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. I have Andre. And who seconds? Pete?
Larry?
Larry, Pete. Okay.
I
All
sent a
right.
copy of the
All the-
last year's audit to Pete, you.
Okay,
Right.
great. All those in
Just
favor
sent it.
say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We are off to new business.
Can I report
Yes.
on the
Yes.
fundraising campaign?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The
Yep.
final result for 2019 was $6,450, which represents a 13% increase over the previous year. And budget for 2019 was $6,000, so we achieved.
Excellent.
I'd like to give a special thanks to Barry Grove and David too for helping me get there. We had some issues.
All right.
But we did good.
Yes, we did. Thank you very much.
They did it.
Thank you,
They
thank
did a
you.
wonderful job.
Absolutely.
One question, David. This is the audit year for year 17.
That's the same as every year. I mean, what do you
Well,
need?
shouldn't we
You just need one of the sample, right?
Oh, I thought we wanted to take the previous one to compare it to where we are currently.
Well, it was almost a carbon copy year after year from what I remember.
I'll look what I have.
Yeah, I
look for the
I thought that
18.
the audit, he would give some results, and then we'd have the 18 to compare to the 19, which is
I
what we're
don't
going
think
to be doing
there's
this year.
any difference. I mean, it just says I went through the books and this looks good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
There
Yeah,
are no
that's what he
figures.
did. No
There's
figures.
no
Yeah.
numbers.
Okay. I'm moving on to new business. Sponsorship for Berks County Business Conference. I received that
Yeah, that was a request from.
Yes. I don't have it in
from,
front of me.
what?
Put it on here.
Yeah, there's a, there's a detail.
Let me go in here.
Yeah,
Sponsorship.
why don't you go on and I'll pick up.
Okay,
the details
okay.
and get back.
All right, under old business, I don't have it mentioned there, but Harry expounded on their meeting. That was one of the things that had been under old business. I don't
How do
think
you
there was
spell
any
Bob's last name?
Robinson.
Oh, you mean B-E-W-L-E-Y. L-E-Y,
L-E-Y.
yeah, B-W-L-E-Y.
You want his phone number?
Barbara,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
there's his card.
That's okay.
all right.
No.
Committee reports. Pete, leadership, slate of officers.
We need a vice chair yet. I've made some contacts with not any success, so I'll go around again and make some phone calls, and we also need a secretary.
Well, we actually have to have election because you pretty much take over.
I'll continue till you find somebody, but I can't
Okay.
be at every meeting. That's a problem. So
I will
you know,
definitely
you know,
keep on recording
Okay,
because that's pretty much what I did. And if I take this recording and actually put it into YouTube, it does the transcription. It creates all the words we're saying, so don't say anything you don't want recorded, actually is picked up by it. And I keep it private.
Yeah.
Nobody sees our information. And then I can get the
at some point, sit
transcription.
down with me and show me how to do it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
is there anybody here that would like to be vice chair? Thrust your hand skyward. It's a great job. The benefit, the bonus package, oh, telling you.
Let the record show what he said.
It's recorded.
It's recorded.
It's being recorded.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
at some point, my 2 years are gonna be up, and
Well,
you know, we're gonna need
good.
we're gonna need a chair after
Yes,
that. I don't know what
absolutely.
happens.
Yeah.
You know, we're a small group, and everybody pitches in,
Mhm.
and we're gonna need to do the hard, inconvenient work. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't, well, I'm actually going to submit this as our slate of officers, and I'm going to open. Is there anyone who would like the chair position? Seeing none? Do I have a motion to close?
I make a motion that
Yeah.
Pete
Okay.
take over chair October 1
Okay.
Second.
for
All
4
right.
years.
Thanks. I thought you
Okay.
guys were my
For 4
friends.
years.
Is that the election? Is that what it is?
What I'm doing is I'm opening and closing, and
Or
then we'll
nomination election?
nominations. Okay. Vice chair has no one. Is there anyone who would like to serve in the vice chair position? Who's singing? Because that's too appropriate. Seeing none, do I have a motion to close it without a vice chair?
Well, so moved.
So moved, Larry. And who seconds that?
I'll second.
Okay. Okay. And we're putting in Barb?
It's interim, I think.
Barb, okay.
Acting.
Acting.
Acting, that seems to be the proper
For
term.
acting secretary, we have Barbara Coffin. Do I have a motion
Have a
to
motion.
accept that? Okay.
Why don't
And
you
a second?
Why don't you show as assistant secretary if you're gonna cover when she's not here?
Oh, I can. Well, actually, I put down the iPad.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's basically doing it. Yeah, okay. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Second, many seconds. Who was the first of the second?
Harry did it.
I did.
Okay, Harry.
Andre.
Oh, Harry, okay. Okay, and Rick Hoffman as treasurer. Is that 2 ends or 1 end?
2 ends.
Okay, all right, all right.
I make a motion that that
David?
Rick Hoffman be our secretary. I mean, secretary, our treasurer.
Our treasurer. You want to be secretary too?
He's also on the
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And a second to that. Okay. Pete. Okay. Okay. Seeing no contested races for any of the offices, do I have a motion to accept the slate of officers as Pete Kostick for chair? Vice chair is open. Barbara as secretary, Rick as treasurer. Do I have a motion to
Make a motion, we
submit that as a
submit as is.
Yes. Okay. Yes. And all those in favor say aye. You're it.
You're it. Tag.
Opposed? See, big motion carried.
Who made
Okay.
that motion?
Russ,
Russ.
and then David.
And
Two. Okay. All righty. Thank you very much. I'm sure Pete will appreciate if one of you steps up for vice chair going forward. Probably
I'll
be
make some-
something
I'll
that
make
makes some more
phone
noise.
calls, yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. So, community engagement. Barbara.
I've been busy, but I'm not sure what that means. I'm going to the Fleetwood Rotary fundraiser
Okay.
whenever it is in October.
Okay.
And we'll be at least talking about SCORE there a little bit with people and trying to do some recruiting.
Okay.
I have also, because of part of being the chamber, government and business advisory committee, Gail Landis is retiring effective October 4th. I don't know what's happening in the chamber. That will be an absolute disaster for the chamber to lose Gail.
Oh, she is.
Absolutely
She is an
amazing
asset.
and incredible. And I don't
Huge.
see anybody who has any skill coming up to take her place. I'm not sure what they're doing up there.
She's the one that started the woman to woman, right?
No, that was
No,
Karen.
that was
And
Karen.
Karen left a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And so they've lost their history, their key workers. I mean, I really don't know what's going on there. But Gail is finally going to join SCORE. And
Oh,
she's-
wow.
She's
Cool.
leaving
That's great.
October
That's your
4th.
vice chair.
Yeah,
Did you
and
tell her
she'll
the
be-
vice chair position's open?
You know,
Secretary.
it was funny because I was standing talking to her and I'm thinking to myself, how soon can we get you in an officer's position? I
You're
didn't want to
thinking
scare
that.
her away, but, you know,
No.
just so,
No,
you know,
no.
But Gail will be
She'll be
real
a really
asset.
great,
We can
tremendous
do some
asset.
Very interesting things because she's got a real handle on that whole business governmental kind of stuff and some really good
Oh,
contacts.
yeah.
So we could
Yeah.
get to have some interesting, I can think of some really
Mhm.
interesting kinds of things we could be doing and partnering with some companies and things. Once Gail
Right.
comes on, I will continue to,
Is she gonna come to the next meeting?
I don't know, I'm obviously going to
And
be
somebody
talking to her.
invite her, and
Yeah, I will be
we'll
talking
send
to
her
her.
all the information that,
Dave, I'll take, I will definitely.
She's on this one.
Yeah.
Big time.
I'm not
I
gonna
can
let
tell.
Gail go, so we
Yeah.
need her.
Yeah.
When she retired,
October 4th. And I think she's going away for a couple of weeks. And then, you know, but Andre and I'll be on her back.
All right. That's great.
But I do think that we
Mhm.
need to somehow, I don't know, my links with the chamber are drying up. I mean, as
Mm-hmm.
I think all of ours are, because all the people we've worked with are gone
Mhm.
or close to being gone. So I think we need to kind of keep an eye on what's going on there.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not sure.
How it's
I mean,
coming
when you have
together.
co-directors, that's usually not a good situation.
Mhm.
And
When you have what?
they have co-directors, Pam Shupp and Eddie Schroyer are co-directors. And usually that's difficult administratively. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, we'll see. I mean, it could be
Mhm.
very successful. It could work really well.
Well, it's just
Usually it does.
in the interim until they find a replacement.
Whatever they're doing, yeah.
And Pam
Yeah.
Shump was the one who put in an application for a 641 at SCORE.
To
find
kind of
out what
test
we were
us.
doing. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I got in
Yeah.
trouble with that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I wonder if she called 911 to find out if that worked.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't
Pam would do those things.
Mhm.
Pam would do
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
That's why I mean, I think
Yeah.
we're gonna have to pay attention with that. I think
Mhm.
that some of the links that Lori's made with the Latino Chamber are interesting, and I have been talking to her
Mhm.
also
Mhm.
about being part of that.
Yeah.
Because I think that that will be interesting. Isamac is certainly known by several of us, and she's been around a long time. And but I think that we don't have the ability to make that connection for some
Right.
reason. But through Lori, we might be able to be more effective, and maybe there is some ways that we can start to do some partnering.
And I
Also,
would think
with the
we
same
about
thing with
this.
the SBDC and the business college. We need to do something with them, and I'm not quite sure what, but I think that somehow we need to be part of something that they're doing,
Mhm.
whether we do it officially in the Women's Entrepreneur Week. And I didn't want to make this comment in front of Lori, but very honestly, I have attended those events, and there are some college students there. But as far as anybody from the broader community, it's very sparse. They
Yes.
are not well-attended events. Now,
Right.
maybe this year with the emphasis and the SBDC being what it is and stuff, maybe it will change. But I'm very honestly, for the cost to put them on, the attendance, I would have been questioning the attendance because you had a few college students there. Mostly the people that came were people that were part of the active Northeast Chamber members.
Yeah. Yeah.
That-
Mhm.
And
That's
so
who
it was
comes.
preaching to the choir, you know, if there really wasn't a lot of other participation.
Now that the women one, I had 4 people sitting at the table I was at. I was sort of off to the side and in the back. They were from Kutztown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were
University?
some.
From the
but-
university, yeah.
But they,
Mhm.
again, very honestly,
Yeah.
you've got a captive audience. The university people are there, but they're not really
Are they
business people
really
that are
into
doing
it?
things. They're not,
Mhm.
their reasons for being there because they're
Mhm.
required to be. You know,
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
looked at the people that should have been there, even the family business stuff, the people that should have been there would have been people in the area or in the broader area who had businesses who were looking for help or who wanted to be part of something. And
They weren't there.
They weren't there.
They
It
weren't there.
wasn't that, they didn't get an
I don't-
outside
yeah.
clientele.
I don't think they really publicized
No,
it that.
it's
that
very
way.
much an
It would
internal.
only been Lori doing that. Yeah.
So just
Mhm.
for what that's worth.
I just talked to
Mhm.
somebody from the SBDC this morning, up
Mm-hmm.
in making a copy, and they're moving up on the 4th floor.
Oh,
SBDC.
from-
They were on the first floor
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, I know,
Who-
but they're moving up
Who
here.
was here?
A gal, she introduced herself, but I don't
Are
recall.
they gonna be in the same office as us?
Maybe they're pushing us out.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
There's plenty of room for
I know.
partners up there.
Yeah,
believe
everybody
me.
else.
Plenty of empty
Yeah.
spaces up there for
Yeah.
partners.
neighbors.
Yeah.
They will be our
Yeah.
neighbors.
There you are. There you are. Okay.
We'll go back to that business thing. I'm sorry.
That's probably a good idea. I would say to you that Lori is so busy right now.
Well, I know, but I mean,
But-
we're all busy.
Right.
Yeah.
but
I
Maybe,
mean, that way we'll be sure to get representation.
sure. I mean,
Mhm.
I'll be glad to talk to her about that, and she
Yeah.
might very well be willing to do that. I mean, what's interesting is that both Elise and I are on the board there now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and, you know,
Yeah.
we got Lori in score. I mean, we might as well control the Northeast.
Yeah,
Chamber,
yeah.
but Be
Yeah,
that as it may,
I'd
it's good
say that
context.
it may be more beneficial for us to look to some of the board members, like we have Mark Crosley,
Yeah.
who he is an attorney. So he would make complete sense to have him be a mentor because he could come in and do sessions for people for us that
in
need
that
that.
area. I mean,
Yeah, in
I
that
think there are some
expertise.
things we can do.
Mhm.
Once we get through with the dinner, I think that there's some
Yeah.
innovative things the board there is willing to take a look at in that area.
Mhm.
And they always have been very willing to let us counsel there. So, you know, if the people who are scheduling have people who have Kutztown, Fleetwood, Topton, any addresses in that area, you might say to them, we could arrange to have counseling there instead of you coming into Reading, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
occasionally get people from up
Yeah,
that way.
right.
So it needs to be, you know, the determining that mentoring coming from, the direction.
And if anybody has any other things that they would like to do, by the way, I am going to that Fox Rothschild workshop.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Down
No, I have that here.
Yeah, that's
I'm going
September
to that.
25th.
It's next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
And I strongly urge, it's for nonprofit, but the Rick Caputo who runs that
Mhm.
I mean, he's a dynamic
The
individual.
last one was really good.
You're gonna go?
Yeah.
Okay,
Registry.
I think, I asked Steve if he could go, but we're getting more and more interest and activity from the nonprofit organization. This is
Yeah.
a great opportunity. I think they filled up, the room is this big, all right? And they filled the table and around the wall. So they had at least 50 or 60 people there.
Well, the last one, most of the people in the room were from Berks County. I knew most of them, which I walked in and I was floored. I did not expect that.
But the other side of the coin too is the other people who are attending are from nonprofits. So it's interesting what Rick says, but it's also interesting to hear the questions that come from nonprofits, what they're asking the attorney.
Mhm.
So if it's like, why don't I send this to you?
Oh, I have it already.
Oh, he's
I
going to
do.
send
I
it
do.
out to the troops.
I will. I will.
Okay, because all you got to do is just sign up.
Where's it? Where's it?
It's down in,
Exton.
it's in,
I thought his
Exton.
office was down there.
Yeah,
and
it's
you
down
just go down the turnpike and get off the first exit, which is Exton Route 100.
Right.
And then you just go Route
It's right
100
there.
north for
Oh,
less
north,
than,
south.
go north
Go
for
north.
less than a mile.
Yeah, it's
And you got
Oh,
to take.
really
and
easy.
it's not,
do-
it's not.
Right
No.
beside the turnpike.
Mhm.
You get
Yeah,
off,
you see,
get
yeah,
off
you
the
right-
down
you can see the
town and
turnpike.
it's right there.
It goes into,
That's too easy.
It is, I mean, it's easy to get to.
Yeah.
The thing is, they do start at 8:00 in the morning.
Oh.
So you definitely are traveling rush hour.
And if you got the 61 traffic like I do,
yeah.
I started at 7:15 and I got here at 8:30 this
Oh, yeah,
morning.
That's horrible.
61 coming, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's brutal.
Well, come-
It's
come-
br-
come down
two-
the street.
we had three jams. Because one was construction and other ones were breakdowns. So, but,
Wow.
yeah, okay.
So you
Back
got to
to
go.
this,
Yeah.
Back to this sponsorship for the.
Yes.
Berks County.
Okay.
Okay, I think that Kathy Neville is kind of the instigator of this.
Okay.
But, this came from Alvernia business students, and they're doing a Berks Catholic Business Club hosting their first annual Berks County Business Conference. It's held for the benefit of students in Berks County high school business clubs to enhance their studies in entrepreneurship and finance. And this student from Alvernia that copied Kathy on this asked if we would be a donor or a sponsor for this. And I think it's more than just the Catholic schools or anything, that they said that this last thing that just came in said that Wilson High School has confirmed their attendance. I don't know how wide this is going to be, but if we're going to sponsor this at all, I think it's just a nominal, just a small amount. I don't know,
Yeah.
just to get our name in there.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I just open it
Can
up
we,
because
can we have
I
a
think it's
table?
kind of a,
Can we have a table or
What's
presence
the
there?
date and where's it at, Alvernia?
it's, it is, the date is October 23,
Okay,
October 23.
At Alvernia? I would think.
That's a Wednesday.
It's, please write out our checks to the Berks Catholic Business Club. And does it say where it's gonna be held? I'm assuming it's gonna be at Alvernia.
It could be a Berks Catholic then, right?
yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it's the Alvernia business students and, right, it could be at Berks Catholic.
Yeah.
Because the
Berks
check's made out to
Catholic
Berks
walked
Catholic.
away with all of, I mean, I couldn't believe how many awards. They've only had their business club for 2 years, and they walked away with like 60% of the awards at the state
Wow,
business competitions.
wow.
Remember, we
they
saw
got-
we
they
saw them
got-
over at Baker Tilly.
Yeah,
That they came over
yeah,
there.
that's
Very
right.
impressive.
And they're now up to like 100 kids in their business club.
Very impressive.
And they really, and I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that start small, but I would imagine that within, kind of like the manufacturing thing, within a year or two, I would bet that almost all the business
Right.
clubs in the county would participate in whatever competition's going on. So it would be really good for us to get in on the ground floor
Mhm.
and be part of that.
Well, they said they'd like to receive their sponsorship
How
by
much?
October 1. I sent all of this stuff to you, Rick. I think I copied all.
I was
How much
copied
is
on it,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
How much is it?
and what
How much is it?
it
They're not
didn't say.
saying.
They just said looking for an amount, a sponsorship.
Like
And I'm thinking that, just to get our SCORE name in there.
100?
And I've done a
200.
number of presentations to high schools and whatever else. I think it's nice to get the SCORE name recognized very early. And I'm thinking, I don't know, $100 or
Yeah.
something small, but
Do you want to make that motion?
show some kind of a flag.
Yeah.
Unless somebody else has some other thoughts.
I make a motion to do it.
Nope,
Yeah.
we have a motion.
Yeah, and maybe just contact
And we have a
them,
second.
find out what would be a nominal donation. What are they looking for?
You have all the.
You
Well,
said it
let's,
to me, yeah, I
let's
have it.
def-
I'm-
since,
yeah, we
since
said
we
were
don't
gonna
have a lot of
discuss it here. I
time,
wanted to see if we're going to
Yeah.
go forward with it.
Yeah.
yeah,
But find out what a nominal is, and then they're going to have to send some sort of invoice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to me, because it's the only way we can get anything paid.
Well, we have an approval for $100. If it's
Yeah.
different, you have to bring it back.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's the whole thing, yeah.
Okay, do we have
You
approval
don't
for
write the
$100?
checks, right?
well, I have a motion and a
National-
second
National
for
does.
$100.
Okay.
And I have to have it
donation.
on an invoice.
All those in favor of,
Second?
Yep, yep, I got it. Mhm. We got what's.
Once I get it, I can scan it and email it right to the thing for payment. That's
Oh,
not a
good.
problem. That's much quicker that way. But
So what are you suggesting, that we email them back and say we need an invoice for $100?
invoice our sponsorship of $100. There, we would need an invoice from whomever
I'll-
the payee is to.
I'll email them back and tell them.
And
that we'd like
I'll
to
tell them
sponsor.
that they're not going to get a W-9.
What's that?
And I'll tell National they're not getting a W-9 because they like
Oh,
that.
oh.
They want W-9s just about for everything and for every vendor.
Is it
Oh, geez.
kosher for us to sponsor something like this?
It's a business club and involved
Yeah.
in the. I would
Yeah.
feel much. I would feel much better if the check was going to Alvernia University than to a specific high school.
Mhm.
But with
This
it being the
is-
fact that they are the ones that are putting it on with the assistance of Alvernia, it
So
sounds,
it sounds like
and they
they,
have a great tie-in with Alvernia, and I know we've been approached about improving our tie-ins with Alvernia.
Mhm.
So by Kevin St. Cyr,
Yeah.
as you remember, David. So
Yeah. All right,
Mhm.
so we, that's the only thing. But if that's who it's going to be made out to and sent to, that's who we have to deal with.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Or maybe we just need to check that.
Yeah. Check that with them.
I mean,
I'll contact
I
them.
can imagine that
Yeah.
that might be difficult. Alvernia, I'm sure, has a whole financial process that getting checks and trying to process them out is complicated. So
Right, I'm sure it
that
is
could
too,
be
yeah.
why they're
That might
doing
be
that,
very,
That's
very
true.
good point.
Yep.
Much as
And
national.
because they're a
I'm sure
business group
capital.
there,
I'll contact
showing
them
that
and
they
tell
have
them
an account.
$100 and send us an
Yeah,
invoice.
we'd be $100. Can you please send us an invoice for that because we need it for
Mhm.
for payment.
Okay.
As most people would always want.
$100.
Mhm.
What's that?
It may be a while till they get the $100.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
if they get
They're supposedly with the new method, it's supposed to cut down the amount of time of things.
Did you?
And people at the national conference
you
are saying that
honestly-
it works well, so. And
All
I'm
right.
talking about the local chapters said that it works well, the payment of bills, those that are already
Okay.
on it.
All right, good. Education, under education, like was mentioned, the nonprofit class was canceled. Right now, we're sort of in a holding as far as whether we're going to have how to start your own business. We have 4 people who have registered for how to start your own business. Of those 4, 3 of them are under the age of 17.
Wow. Students.
We have a 14-year-old wants to be there and 2 16-year-olds want to be there. My concern is that our instructors, having experienced our how to start your own business, our information is like over the top when it comes to teaching, and I'm really, really concerned that we are not going to be able to communicate starting a business to 1 14-year-old and 2 16-year-olds. So what I basically have said to them was and this is also how I feel. If we don't have at least 10 students register, I'm not interested in bringing volunteer instructors out to 10 people, because you know what's going to happen? 10 is going to become 9 or 8.
Not gonna do it.
And And it's like, we're bringing we're bringing actually more than 8 instructors out because we have the volunteers coming for the panel. We're going to bring out more instructors than we have people that we're teaching. So I gave her the magic number. I said, if we don't reach this number, I'm really having a struggle with the 14-year-old and the 16-year-olds. We're not going to do it. That's especially if we know we have these opportunities with the Northeast Berks Chamber to do these types of things and not charge as much. That's $120 and not even the printed material for them. So that's where we are with that. All the other ones we're kind of hovering at 4. We did advertising in the Reading Eagle. We did all the community calendars that were available for the free advertising. I did all that. We did all social medias. We have it on our website. So from our standpoint, we've done our part. They got the tabloid out 2 weeks before any of the classes started. So I feel as though even the timing for them with getting the tabloid out in time was plenty of time for people to make that decision to come to the classes. So that's where we are with that. As for successes, Lion Launch began with 6 students at Penn State University. They're teaching in this new room that they have. Last night I taught e-commerce to 5 of them. The 6th one, I really feel he's just there, hopefully, to get the $5,000. I don't think he's going to start a business. But, you know, because every single thing I said, you need a website? No, I don't plan on having a website. You need email? No, I'm not going to have email. He's starting a theater. He doesn't need a website. He doesn't need email, and he only needs his friend page on Facebook.
Good luck.
He's not going to make it. I said to Susan, are you planning to give him $5,000? Because I highly recommend not. Because I don't really think he's going to start a business. I really don't. You know, you can tell, you know. The other ones were very engaged and really into the learning. So that's happening. We have, you know, the positioning of getting started to see how our Fleetwood Kutztown activity happens. So, and if we want to do the spring classes at RAC, I need to determine what the classes are going to be by September 23rd.
Oh, sure.
For
Yeah,
spring.
okay.
They start in January for that. Louis, did you get the note? Okay. All right. Because I mentioned, first of all, we won't have the QuickBooks. I reached out to Pam and I said, I refuse to put anybody under the condition of training while they should be working on taxes. That was so wrong last spring to expect Pam to train while she should be working on paid work, you know, on her tax paperwork for her clients. So we decided QuickBooks was only going to happen fall period, end of story. So it would be nonprofit, how to start, and social media, and the business plan, and then and we do have people signed up for the business plan.
Oh,
so,
damn.
Yeah, damn. But not enough yet, according to my rules. Really, when I look at it, we have to have a minimum of 5. When it's like 2 or 3 classes, I'm okay with 5. You know,
5 is fine for the.
5 is fine for those.
business plan.
I'm
How to
okay
start,
with that.
though, you need at least.
Oh my God, 10 is like my minimum. You know, anything less than that, forget it. So we're looking for one other class, and I did mention about maybe how's your business health. You know, do something about that. So so I reached out to Louis about that. That's it for education. Any comments, questions?
Yeah, the class that was canceled was this nonprofit
Nonprofit.
management
Yeah.
that's supposed to start tonight.
That, yes,
Okay, that's what we can.
yes, that was the one that was canceled.
There's that curriculum.
Yeah.
Pass it around.
Hmm?
If you want to pass that around, there's a curriculum.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
I
go
think-
ahead. Yeah.
It's coming
Yeah.
down to you. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah,
And the
that's,
class about how to start your own business is still on?
it's still on. What
This
I've
week
been
went on the
doing
web-
is
site
I
went on the
have been giving it like up until next Tuesday, because that's a
Next
week
Tuesday.
before.
Right.
You know, I've been kind of, okay, this is what it's
Right.
gotta be. And Joan's been really good. She's been sending me updates of who has signed up. Today, while we're here, or 9 o'clock, Kim Davis, who is part of the How to Start Your Own Business, included announcing about the class to the people that were at her 9 o'clock club this morning. Tomorrow morning, because I'm sponsor for Northeast Berks Chambers Breakfast, score will be announced for the How to Start Your Own Business. The thing is, I'm not at a place where I should be announcing about how to start your own business, because they all are business owners. So,
Well, there'll be
yeah.
some school students here, though. We might get a few
True.
more 14, 15
Oh my God, I don't want those.
Yeah.
Oh God. I do have somebody that could start that, but anyway, we're going to jump to membership. If there's nothing else about,
Yeah, on the, another question on this
Sure, sure.
marketing business, that one is still likely to occur?
it,
starting in
the
October?
marketing one has 4 right now at this point, but that one we have not done the additional advertising for it yet. My plans are that'll go in
And if, for
beginning of
instance, if
October.
I would have an interest in attending that, can I just show up or do I need to register?
You, as a mentor, you can show up, but it means that all you get is the ebook.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But yes,
But I
you
don't
can
need to do
come.
anything else, I just show up.
You just show up.
Okay.
Just show up. Okay.
I will
Any other
likely
questions?
try to do that.
Okay. All right. Membership, Larry.
We had 2 people come in and visit with us, but they didn't join. So at
No.
this point, we're gonna need some new members.
Mhm.
Keep thinking about bringing somebody that would fit the bill for us, so keep kicking some tires there. We
Okay.
didn't start our generate that speakers bureau. Maybe that's something we should be looking at, a speakers bureau to go out and explain to Rotary members and Lion members and stuff
Yeah.
like that about SCORE. But think about that.
That sounds good.
They had a session on what they called onboarding, about how to recruit and train and keep members, and it was very interesting. A guy from Buffalo did it, and you know, we had seen people come in and then disappear, and you kind of wonder why. Or you know, we developed a senior mentor to try and combat that. You know, and you know, why join and then not show up, or why not be part of it?
Well, did they give you any ideas of how to generate new bodies?
Yeah, they did a lot. If you go onto the website, score.org, go into core, in the middle of that box, it's SCORE volunteers, and there's topics in there that you can just touch in on, and they give you some ideas. You know, this guy was pretty informative. He was a chair from Buffalo, I think, and what he's saying is when you get somebody, you got to get them interested in a lot of things and figure out the one they're going to do best.
Hopefully
Well, the
we'll have
ironic
Gail
thing
next month.
Delaware SCORE reached out to me for, I guess I should have done a 641 on them. I did counseling with them over the phone on how to, they want to find specific mentors. And they said, how can we just do that? And I said, do it through Google AdWords, because you can be very specific and you can, you know, focus on even a town and a location. I said, and it's, you have to be very specific with it. Well, we have done it for a month, and they did an investment of $100 to Google AdWords, and they've only spent, because there wasn't that click onto the ad and the interest to, become a mentor for their social media. They're looking for social media. They've only spent like $12. That's how little there is that interest for that specific. So I said to them, let's do a general ad, so that we can find out if this is the right direction to go and find people. And that's Google. So, yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
One
now.
of the things that came up in that session, the gentleman's name
Mhm.
was Steve Martin, put it on from Buffalo. Engage is going to be replacing Core. Core is clunky, as they all say, and but because of the situation with the accounting problems and the audit, that's been pushed back to 2021. not even
Okay.
2020. So Engage, and we saw some previews running things of Engage. Engage tracks everything. They have the application. You have an application right on there for a volunteer to somebody become part of your board, or to come on your board and everything like that. An application to fill out to get the information, and you have it given it to a coach. And that coach interviews, and they talk, and then you bring the people in and bring them to the meeting, and then interview them and talk to them at the meetings, and then go on from there with a vote if they want to have them in. It's a much more call than just have somebody stop, and it's more formalized in the future. I don't know. I think a lot of that is
it's a sales force.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
sales force type thing.
It's like getting hired for a job, just
Right.
because you say, I want to be
much
a
more
scorer.
detailed, but Engage is much more detailed and seems that it will be a huge, huge benefit over Core. It's a shame that it got pushed back, but it did because of obvious reasons. So that's something we have to look forward to. But it's interesting. You can go on into Core now and go in and see the different programs and go and look at the presentations that were done at the national, but in the onboarding, the ones that did the Engage, the ones that did the accounting and all that stuff, the programs, and you can actually see what the printouts. I'm looking at it right now, just going through it, and it shows how you integrate, and it's amazing what Engage is going to do for us. But again, we don't have it until this pushed back basically almost 2 years, or a year and a half anyway. So, but a lot of the organizations said, they have a coach that comes in and they make sure that, and they stay on with their people and actually go and sit with them as they do their certifications, because you have to do the certifications, without the certifications, nothing gets done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're requiring and pushing that. And they have coaches and things like that, and they bring around the people and they bring them and they keep them engaged and keep them interested. One other thing that they came up with, there's a lot more than just they're looking for more people that are currently in the workforce to be doing mentoring and coming on board, rather than that's a part of the thing, getting rid of the retired executives nomenclature. They're looking to bring in more younger 25, 30-year-old people that are in business, that have started their own business, and that's up to try to bring them into the mentoring. People like Sabeda of Mikasa Sukasa, people like that have done it and that were involved with SCORE and that stuff in the past. Getting people like that and younger people that are in business to come in and be mentors and then work. And then there's also the training that now unfortunately, these are the bigger. Buffalo has 100, Tampa has 120 mentors. And they go on a wheel and each mentor gets maybe 2 people a month to mentor.
Well, but Tampa's some of those places have kind of captive audiences. I mean, the whole state of Florida, you've got a lot of retired people down there who are looking for things to do. And when somebody new moves into a community, if the SCORE people get them and bring them in and are their friends, you're going to...
they're going to want that experience.
Well, Buffalo doesn't have that, but Buffalo has a big program.
Right,
He's the guy that put on the presentation. So that's how the other organizations are trying to do it.
Could we isolate a couple businesses and solicit them?
I like the idea of the Speakers Bureau from a standpoint of going to organizations where you already have that volunteer person because, you know, like I said about going to Northeast Berks Chamber and getting more mentors there, which is going to not force, but it's going to encourage the mentoring out there, because then we have not just Barbara, we have 1 or 2 or 3 other people that we're top of mind. We're just not top of mind right now. Well, I do want to move forward. Marketing,
Well,
because I know we're getting late.
I got one article into Business Weekly where we
Thank you,
put out
David.
the list of classes, and that published 2 weeks ago or so.
Yep, we did that for 2 weeks.
I'll tell you what we have, so I haven't done one for October, but I'll get something. to you,
Okay.
Business Weekly for October and then next week. So.
Yeah,
It
yeah, that's
shouldn't-
great.
It shouldn't be too hard. There's not too many articles in there anymore.
Oh, it's very thin.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it still comes out.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
Yeah.
is still coming out.
coming
That's true.
Okay.
All 4 pages of it, but it's still coming out.
Now, Schuylkill Score.
So true.
Nothing to report, and I still think it needs a kickstart, but you'll excuse the pessimism. I'm not sure there's anything there to kick.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I think if anything, we feed off of Susan's energy. She seems to have this, you know, energy about SCORE, because she wants to start. She came to the Women's Evolve Her through an invitation from a business up there. We actually, if we do a women's event, she wants to do one there, Penn State.
Oh, good.
She wants to do a women's event. She already has a bank that will support us. And I said to her, as far as I'm concerned, let's, you know, get something going up there. So maybe between the 3 of us, let's meet with Susan and get that going. Because even though it's a women's event, she wants to do it in spring. She's got this in her head already. So let's kind of kickstart it up there.
Well, I think
And
you
meet there,
mentioned
Penn State.
Susan. We gotta do some things about Susan, because she doesn't report any of the workshops that she has. She won't give
She
me the
doesn't
information.
report them properly. Yeah.
Didn't even give me anything the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
even though I emailed her a number of times, she has not done any of the required certifications
Oh,
or
okay.
anything since she joined in January.
Okay.
And theoretically, we ought to be just taking her off the roll of
Oh.
SCORE unless she does that, because
Okay.
it's a 90 days provisional, and we've only got 8 people that have done the new code of ethics that are required by October
Okay.
1 as well, out of 39 people.
Well,
And-
she's too
and,
close to me to be, I'll
one
just
thing-
go up and say, let's do our code of ethics together.
One thing that came up, though, if you are not on the active list, but having done the code of ethics, you are not allowed to mentor, and we're not allowed to use you as a mentor as of October 1st. That came loud and clear
Oh,
through
okay.
the
So
Okay.
National Convention. And that's a
is it
major
just the
concern,
code of
not only
ethics
for
we
our
all have to
chapter,
update?
but for other chapters also.
What's that?
Other
Code
chapters
of
suffer the
ethics that
same
have to
thing.
be updated?
Absolutely.
every year.
Yeah.
I
Every
know,
year.
but is it in September? I don't know. I
It is
First of
September.
October.
By
Okay.
October, September 30th.
So I know I need to do mine.
You should send a
I
reminder.
gotta
Okay,
do mine.
I'll send a reminder out. Okay, okay.
And on the code of
Police.
ethics,
Yeah,
Dave said Susan is a member, and I have, at least in the distribution of the Schuylkill County notices, I haven't seen her name. Is she?
I
She's
have
on the list
her,
now.
I've
just-
had her on
She's listed, I gave you the
constant contact
members.
list.
Yeah, the newest, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if she was on before, but she's on now.
She's been on since January.
Since January
Mhm,
this year.
mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
is she included
She's
in the-
she's more of an SME. She doesn't do mentoring. She does more, she's more administrative, subject matter expert, that.
Maybe that's
Yeah,
why she isn't.
yeah,
That she
yeah.
doesn't get.
Yeah, she doesn't mentor. Right.
Yeah,
But
so
I
that's
do
why
have
she
her
won't-
getting all of the emails for us,
Yeah.
for the meetings.
And she sends me all the emails or notification for the classes,
Mhm.
but she refuses to take the time to give me, I need numbers of people.
Mm-hmm. I know.
As a minimum cost, all of those things that
Yeah.
are required, I can't put anything in. So the last few months,
Mhm.
we showed 0 for workshops.
Right.
Well, what's the action?
Yes,
what's the
yes,
action-
Louis.
What's the action on Dave's comment?
As far as,
What's gonna be done?
I'm going to meet with her. I'll meet with her and go over that. But as far as the classes, I just have to say to her, hey, I know you did a lunch and learn. Because I asked if all of the lunch and learns that she does, I attended one. I thought for sure she gave you the August one of the lunch and learn. Because wasn't that the one where you said, well, she didn't give me anything. And I said, oh, well, there were.
She gave it to me,
Mhm.
but I dummied in the amount.
Right.
Because she
So
didn't give me.
she had another one for intellectual property that Penn State University, the main campus, had an individual Zoom in with it. So we can actually do a couple things with that, because I'm going to ask permission for us to be able to do a Zoom of that to people who are part of us and say, do we want to do more than that? Give you, sponsorship and whatnot. So,
we
yeah.
get these comments from Lou Davenport, like we're not doing anything up here or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
But we are, we're just not reporting it.
Right. Well,
Willis and I got a
line on,
mentoring assignment
line
both
launch.
at the city here at
Yeah.
noon.
Yeah. Line launch
Candy
is
Man.
happening.
Huh?
Mhm.
Candyman.
I
Okay.
expect some samples at the next meeting.
All right.
Uh,
So,
Dum-dums?
good of the order. Thank you very much for my 2 years. Appreciate,
Yeah,
huh?
excuse me,
Yeah.
call a question.
There's a question.
Meeting here, 4 meetings?
Next meeting here.
Right now, it's gonna be here, and I gotta tell you, if I have my way, it's not gonna be here.
I appreciate that.
And while we're on that subject, is everybody stuck
I hope
on
you're more
Thursday.
lucky in getting,
Thursday at 9:00? I mean, we got a 5-day week. We have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't want to go to a dinner meeting, but at some point, we tried the breakfast meeting. It failed because we didn't have a private room. But I kind of believe that might be a way to go.
Catalyst, it might have to be a different day if we go to Catalyst.
Catalyst is awfully, they are paying, they're paying.
Well, I'm thinking some retail establishment, some restaurant. Yeah.
Well, we could use Discovery too. for the evening. We don't need their-
oh yeah, absolutely, Discovery would let us. I know Louis was gonna mention something. I'm sorry.
No,
Go
well,
ahead.
I would say this, we come
Hang on.
back here every now and then. Maybe not permanently,
Okay, Louis was gonna mention
Just
something.
real quick,
Go ahead.
for clarification, workshop presenters, we still have to take the mentor certification. Because I tried logging into that and I kept running into issues, so I don't know if. Really? Yeah, I was able to complete the code of ethics and everything else
I
with the
thought it-
exception of
Yeah.
the mentor certification. So I don't know if.
Do you know the answer there, Dave?
Well, you probably don't need to do the mentor certification if you're a subject matter expert.
Well.
Yeah, workshop presenter, subject matter.
Workshop presenter, yeah.
Yeah, SME, I remember it was there.
Okay,
But I just want to be sure so that there's no.
yeah, it's a code of ethics. You got to do the code of
I think
ethics.
that's correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay? And I wouldn't, at this point, I wouldn't worry about the last